Okay, this is a Geico commercial, a 30-second one, and I'm going to throw a lot of numbers at you. The lizard voice doesn't work. But please stay with me. In just 15 minutes, you could save 15% or more on your car insurance. This company has been offering great rates and great service for over 75 years. That's the same amount of years as I've been alive. At any time you need help, you can speak to one of their trained specialists 24/7. The company is Geico. Go to geico.com today. Sorry for all the numbers. And in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, I'm out of time.
Now, Podcast One brings you Spike's Car Radio, a downloadable cars and coffee, hosted by writer, comedian, and automotive enthusiast, Spike Ferriston. Now, here's Spike.
Hi, everybody. I am smoking a delicious Cuban cigar, a Bolivar Belicoso Fino. It's the Sunday after Lufka cult. I'm in my backyard, and I'm remembering I have to make a quick announcement, so I'm putting it on top of this David Cross episode of Spike's Car Radio. Guess what? We have our first T-shirt. I could not be more excited about it. We partnered with the folks at Blip Shift. I'm sure you guys know who they are. If you don't, they make cool T-shirts. They've made the first Spike's Car Radio shirt. You can check it out at blipshift.com/Spike. blipshift.com/Spike. I'll put up the mock-up of the tee on my social media, but for you Porsche guys, it's an old Blaupunk radio. And on the buttons it says Spike, and right where it says Blaupunk, instead of saying that, it says Zuckerman. I could not be more happy with the shirt, and it's for sale. It should be a reasonable price. I think they're about $20, but don't quote me on that. And I think it's a nice way for you to wear a shirt that isn't so over-the-top Spike's Car Radio. Like, I'm going to wear this shirt just because it's a cool shirt, and I think these guys just do great stuff. They've been doing a lot of work with Johnny Lieberman, with The Smoking Tire, Matt Farah, and now yours truly. So check it out. Our new T-shirt, blipshift.com/Spike, the new Spike's Car Radio T-shirt. And that's it. And now we have this interview with David Cross. And just to give you a little context on this, half the guests on the show I end up booking through meeting folks at car shows, or just folks I want to talk to. I also have a booking department here at Podcast One who calls me up, and they usually have access to the kind of big-time guests who are on the late-night circuit, who are out promoting their new shows, their new movies, or doing the big media tour. And occasionally we get lucky and we get to grab some people off that tour and pop them into our studio. And this is one of those guests, David Cross from Arrested Development, from Mr. Show. You've seen him in many, many movies. I think I just saw him in The Post, that Ron Howard movie about the Washington Post. He's a fantastically funny guy. I'd never met him before. He was definitely on my list of people that I've wanted to sit down and not just interview, but also just meet. And we sat down last week to talk about his new stand-up special, which I loved. And here is that interview. I hope you guys enjoy it. All right. Here we are in Beverly Hills.
We did it.
We did it. I'm here with...
You did it.
I did?
Yeah.
What did I do, David?
You got to Beverly Hills. Your lifelong dream. When you were a little boy in Yellowknife, woods of Canada. That was your dream. Make it to Beverly Hills.
I never did. You're listening to David Cross, by the way, who's here to promote his new stand-up special, Oh Come On, from the Comedy Dynamics Network. Available May 10th, which was a few days ago if you're listening right now, but we're a few days ahead of it. How are you, David? You and I have never met before. And
I was wondering whether we had. I felt like we had.
Maybe.
We had a lot of mutual friends.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
But maybe not.
I'm a huge fan of yours.
I'm a huge fan of meeting you.
So excited that you're here. First of all, Comedy Dynamics. Who are these guys? Where did they come from? What are they doing here? They seem to be buying up all of the comedians and putting out content across a lot of different platforms.
Yeah.
How does that work?
Well, I mean, to answer your first question, it's a new way to distribute material, and that was the first thing that was really intriguing to me. And I've done other things where I've taken some of my stuff and put it out there in interesting ways. And I checked with I shouldn't say checked. Well, that's what I did. I checked with other comics who, who put stuff out on HBO and Netflix and, places where I've done stuff before. And those are the first things that occur to you, like, oh, I'll do this on Netflix or whatever. But, and people that are bigger than me, comics that are bigger than me, and they were very positive about what they had to say with their experience working with them, and also they really courted me and pressed me and so yeah, I all those things considered, I was like, yeah, let's especially because it's this cool new way to distribute it. It comes out on all those streaming platforms.
Here, let me read you what I have right here.
Okay.
In a theatrical run simultaneously with all major transactional platforms: iTunes, Amazon, Google Play, Xbox, most major telco, satellite providers: Comcast, Cox Communications, Charter Spectrum, Dish, Time Warner.
That is it. That's everything.
Comedy Dynamics will also release the album Oh Come On iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, and physical retailers.
Yeah, it's great.
Wild.
And physical, it's great. It's
and is
really
that all
great.
at once?
All at once.
It just blasts out.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it it stays there. That's the thing. It's not like I'm not knocking Netflix. I have a good relationship with them. I've done a lot of stuff with them, and I like the people over there. But you're at the whim of an algorithm, and there's just stuff that's just not gonna I'm not gonna occur to you. I'm not gonna pop up on your Netflix home screen if you haven't searched me out or anything.
What if I'm watching Arrested Development, your show?
Then it might come up.
Then it would pop up. So that's how that works. So that front screen of Netflix, it's suggestions just for you.
Yeah.
And it doesn't necessarily, you're right, prompt you to start looking for people, right?
Yeah, and there's probably tons of great stuff that I haven't seen just because, I kind of lazily, I do that. I get the clicker and I'm like, oh, what's new releases and, just for you and stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
You scroll through and then you find something. Oh yeah, the show about salt. All right, I'll check that out for 5 minutes. And so there's so much stuff that's fallen by the wayside, and that's just how that works. And that was one of the issues that came up with other comics, and I felt the same thing. Like you just sort of. It's there, but it's kind of in the back of the closet in the corner.
Do you consider yourself more of a comic than an actor?
I mean, if you had to quantify it, I guess by 7%. I don't.
All right, let me ask you a question. I watched The Hour. It's great. It has such a nice, relaxed vibe. But what really stood out for me was the location. Live from the Orange Peel.
Yep.
Asheville, North Carolina.
Yep.
You included the zip code 288.
Yes. I'm glad you noticed that.
01.
That made me laugh so hard because when you put that stuff up and you're like Asheville, and then I just added the zip code, and made me laugh. Like, will anybody think that's funny?
I didn't notice it the first time, but when I went back just to check the location, I went, wow, there's the zip code. What is that for? And then I went, oh, that's funny. That's really funny. He got me. I suspect that, well, first of all, why Asheville, North Carolina? Why did you take it to the South?
Well, it wasn't about this.
Because you did another test show in Alabama too, right? Or not?
Oh no, this was taped in the middle of a tour. So I had been on. The tour itself was probably 5 months. June, yeah, it was 5 or 6 months. And I did it. I did it the same way I always do it, where because I'll tour for a little while for a good 6 months or so, and I always do the video, tape the set midway through the tour, and then I do the audio portion one of the last three, and I think Birmingham was the third to last show I did, and I do that because I do it midway through the tour, tape it because it's tighter, and I tend to write a lot on stage, so and I always try to keep it fairly tight to an hour and a half, the show in its entirety. So, I'm dropping stuff and expanding stuff, and by the time I get halfway through, it's really pretty tight, and I know what it is. And then, because the CD was taped 3 months later, the show has evolved even more from so there's different stuff on the audio, and I do that with every time I release something. So there'll be a video, visual, and then audio, and the audio is always a little bit different because it's just tighter. I've expanded some things as I've thought of stuff on stage or whatever.
Now, the Orange Peel, was this your best show on the tour? Is that why the video was up?
No, I didn't tape any other sets. I just knew, first of all, the Asheville kind of fell right in the middle of the tour, and it's at a club which I'm very, music club which I'm comfortable with. That's sort of my roots. I've done lots and lots of shows in music clubs, and Asheville's a great, awesome town. If you've ever been there, it's great. I love it. I have a affinity for the shows in the South. That's where I'm from. It's where I grew up, and it just sort of fit. And I could do 2 shows. You get, when you're taping, I like to tape 2 sets in case something, shit myself, something terrible happens. And not that that's terrible, but it's a thing.
When you say relaxed, that's what I
relaxed.
The whole thing, it was very relaxing and funny to watch. That's exactly how I felt when you heard it.
Spike, that's a CBD oil.
Is it?
Yeah.
It's in the somehow on the screen.
Yeah,
I just like
it.
Everybody's relaxed. Everybody's chilled. Nobody's overdressed. You're not overdressed when you walk out onto the stage.
I'm severely underdressed.
Severely underdressed, which is why I suspected you played there. But why the title? Oh, come on! What does that mean?
If you watch the special, you'll see it's got the implied kind of oh, come on, or however you want to apply it to today's world.
How do you come up with it?
Well, the audience came up with the title. I'll explain. So, but it also has to do with a specific bit. Where you find that out at the end of the show. But when I was getting the material ready and getting the set together, and towards the end when I had it pretty well honed and I knew what I wanted it to be, and I would ask the audiences, just if you could hang out and stay, because I spent like 5 months maybe in Brooklyn, just starting from scratch with this. So I'd book a show and I'd just take notes up there and tape, record it, and whatever. And as I was saying, as it kind of presented itself, what the show was going to be, I'd say, if you could, after the show, if you could stick around, I got some questions, and the audiences were really, 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 really helpful in crafting this and telling me, should I do more dad jokes? No. All right, it's just enough dad jokes. Okay, great. And like every single.
So you're taking a survey on stage, of your own act.
Oh yeah,
wow,
yeah. And I'm asking, does it feel like, when is a good time to get into this bit? Should I do more of this or less of this? And what if this bit came after this bit? And
I didn't know you could do that in stand-up.
Yeah,
you just ask the people listening, and they'll help you with your act. But then, are they paying to get in?
Well, at that point, it's not like I'm doing my show. It's not like I'm touring.
You're just up there with a pad working out material
in my neighborhood in Brooklyn.
Okay,
where I'm down in a basement somewhere with whatever, and it's also kind of a fun way to engage people, and they seem to like it, and again, I got a lot of valuable input. But it was the audience that came up with the title, because I, like every time I put out an album or anything, my titles that I come up with are either really pretentious or so corny and it's a bad pun.
Like what? Can you give me an example?
Well, here's what I said. So I told an audience. I was at the Bell House in Brooklyn, and we were kind of wrapping up that stage of things. I was getting ready to go on the road, and I said, "What do y'all think about this for a title?" I've got a little list here, and the one I was really thinking about was It's so bad. It's so bad.
That's all right.
Was
You're with friends.
seriously kidding. And immediately, no! And then two people on complete opposite sides of the audience, and this is at the Bell House at this stage, so there are probably like 400 and some plus people there, and a guy over here and a guy way over on this side at the same time said, "Oh, come on, you should call it Oh, Come On," and I thought that was kind of brilliant. And
so
perfect.
Someone suggested that to you?
Yeah, two different guys.
Wow.
And I was like, that's great. That's perfect.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's great. Because it's got
That's
the
rare.
double meaning to it.
Yeah.
Once it's revealed in the.
It must be impossible. I mean, with the sheer number of these stand-up comedy hours out there and the titles, that would drive me nuts to have to come up with something
mine
that's
are
different.
always bad. I didn't.
Well, no title. Titles are one of the hardest things we do as writers, right? Don't you think?
Yeah, but
they're so important.
They are important
They're
in a
very
way
important.
that
It's the first thing that we see of you. It's the first little idea we're getting of what you're going to talk about.
Yeah.
Right? And if you blow it, then everybody's, I'm not even going to pay attention to it.
Which
right?
is all the more reason. Like, people won't think of necessarily a good title. It won't stay with them, but a bad title will stay with them.
Right.
And they'll think about it. And my initial ideas are just so bad.
Seriously kidding.
Terrible
Dave.
idea.
It's not
Terrible.
so bad, but you rewrote it, right?
Well, the audience did for me, yeah. But I would have gone, the special would have been, it's terrible.
You know what
It's
I liked?
so comic. It's comedy-ish.
You were also you did a lot of storytelling, which I liked in your hour. We were telling real stories from your life and little left turns, but I got to know you a little better through your comedy, and that's another thing where I didn't feel like you were just hitting me, with joke and setup all the time. You were kind of taking me through a nice hour of comedy. It's really, it's for me, and I'm just saying, me personally, at this point, it's hard for me to watch any stand-up.
Sure.
But you're one of the few I've watched where I actually watched the whole hour and enjoyed myself recently because there was that relaxation factor, and I'm laughing. That's it, right? I didn't feel anxiety like this guy was moving at such a fast joke speed like some other comedians. Does that make any sense whatsoever to you when I'm trying to articulate?
It does because, I've been doing some press for this for a little while now, and that has come up. It was never an intention. I never consciously set out to do that, but it's an observation that a number of people have made. I was doing radio this morning, and one of the guys was like, "Yeah, I feel like I got to know you, like in a way I haven't on the other."
This is Kevin
stand-up.
and Bean. Is that
Yeah.
what you were doing this
Yeah.
morning? That's
Yeah.
what I'm hearing in the hallways. He's doing Kevin and Bean, and then Spike's Car Radio. I'm like, God, we're moving up in the world. David Cross and Kevin and the Bean guests.
but I mean, that was
it's interesting,
and
right?
and other people have brought it up, doing like print interviews and stuff. And I hadn't noticed that. I'm so inside of it. I don't know what that is, but you're not the first person to make that observation, so that's good. That's a happy accident.
I won't be the last.
And you will not be the last.
This is Spike's Car Radio.
Thank you.
We'd like to talk about cars. If there's, I don't know if you have any relationship with the four-wheeled conveyance known as the automobile. What do you drive?
I have a Toyota Highlander.
A Toyota Highlander.
Yes.
All right. And was that just an SUV choice that you made, or?
I did lose it. I lost a car in Hurricane Sandy.
You did?
Yeah, and it was just destroyed. So literally, the guy came because it got
in
taken,
Brooklyn.
It got taken down one street and then up another one. There's video footage of it with somebody from some apartment above. It's floated down, then it got spun around. It literally moved a couple streets over,
God.
and it was just destroyed. And the guy who was so weary at this point, came over, the insurance guy, and just took one look at it and went, "Yeah, here's a check," and then moved on to the next car. And so I had a GMC Acadia, and then that was replaced with the Toyota Highlander.
And you like trucks? You like these SUVs?
My wife and I have a
have
house upstate in on the Delaware River, and and so we use it a lot. First of all, it's all-wheel drive, which you have to have up there. You have to. And, we use it a lot because we're bringing stuff back and forth from the city, stuff up there, stuff down. And now that we have a kid, even more so. So once I got the house, I got an SUV. You don't need a car in New York at all, but, I mostly use it just to go up and down.
Now, how old is you have a daughter? Mm-hmm. She's young, right?
She's 2 months and change. Yeah. Wow. I'm sorry, 2 years and change.
2 years and change.
Yeah, 2 years.
You and I believe, are the same age, and I thought I was late to kids. I have 11 and 9, right?
Oh, no,
you were
I'm
born in
very late.
64, right?
Yeah, I'm really late.
Yeah, what happened there? But you're kind of in the Seinfeldy zone. That's
I mean,
and you got the Letterman beard going on now.
Well, this thing I'm growing out for a movie I'm doing.
Oh, you are?
Yeah, that's what my hair is getting. I'm self-conscious. That's why I got this cap, even though I'm inside.
I like the look. I'm fine. I'm fine with Dave's beard too, by the way.
But my hair, everything grows out. It doesn't go down.
Right.
That's the problem.
But we're getting older. But this kid thing. Go back to the kid thing. Okay. What did you get married?
She does not have a beard.
Did you get married late in the game, or
yeah,
you did? Mm-hmm. So, and is your wife a lot younger than you are? So there you go. So that's what happened.
Yeah, and I was never opposed to the idea of having a kid. It just didn't, and I'm a huge fan of abortion. So, I mean, I was on my 9th at that point, and all right, time to sacrifice.
Do you find, I have found being an older dad, I am a better dad. And this is no offense to you younger dads out there listening, but I feel like men our age have a deeper appreciation of children and of family. When they come along at this point where you've kind of had a career, right? And you've experienced the highs and lows of that thing, but mostly the highs. And then you're kind of shrugging at it a little bit. And then there's this new experience that comes along. Has it affected you in that way?
Yeah. I mean, I certainly, I also should say that I am extremely lucky because of how my career and schedule has tracked since we got pregnant. Well, we didn't. She did, but she got pregnant when I was on the European leg of my last tour. So all this has been, and working on the set and touring, because we toured to my wife just completely coincidentally for the second time in a row had a book come out when I was getting ready to tour. So we toured together. We had a bus, and we'd roll into town. She'd do a bookstore or a reading somewhere, and then I'd do a show that night. And so
fun.
Now we had the kid with us on this tour. So, I've been able to spend more time with my daughter in her first 2 years and change of her life than 95% of American dads. I've just been able to be there, and I haven't had to stress about stuff, and I haven't had to, be away for all day or weeks at a time or months at a time. I'm about to face our first challenge where, as I was saying, I'm growing this out I'm shooting a movie in Oregon in a couple weeks. I start prep for that. And,
what's the movie?
It's called The Dark Divide, and it's a guy who goes hiking and kind of just ends up biting off more than he could chew. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's in over his head, and he's in the woods longer than he ever anticipated. And so that's
it a comedy or is it a drama?
No, it's a drama, but it's a lighter drama. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't say it. I mean, it's definitely not a comedy, though.
Will you be chewing off a limb of any kind?
No. I mean, sure, in my spare time when I'm in the trailer. No, it's not. It's not that kind of thing. But there's a point where I think it's understood that he's going to die and he's not going to make it. And
how do you approach something like that? Can you memorize lines at this point? Have you ever been someone who can read through 80 pages and go, I know it all right now?
I'm not. No, I'm not. And
so how do you do it? What do you do?
Well, there's not a ton of dialogue. A lot of it is,
Well, Arrested Development then. You're in a scene in Arrested Development. How are you?
It's hard, man. It's. I'm not good. I'm not. That's not
so
my strong suit.
What do you do? You're shooting the next morning with Bateman.
Yeah.
Who sat in that very chair not long ago to promote
I thought
Ozarks.
I smelled him.
Yes,
I thought I smelled something.
And, that would really intimidate a person like me. And it wouldn't matter how hard I rehearsed and practiced and memorized. I know when the director called action, I would go blank, at least for 2 or 3 takes. What do you do? What's your process?
You know what? It was tough with Arrested because the scripts were always changing, but
right.
You just start memorizing, and I even driving to set, if it's like 6:30 in the morning, I got the light on in the car, it's not even light yet, and you're just I'm looking every time I come to a red light, pulling up the stuff, looking at it, trying to almost like photograph it in a sense, and just hitting the beats and trying to let one word. Sometimes I do a little. Not an anagram. What's called when you take the initials of something.
Acronym.
Acronym. So sometimes I go, if there's like a run in a speech, I'll go, Kayup, because, Christian, atheist, whatever the thing is.
Right.
You have to rattle some stuff off.
That's interesting.
That's one. But, I'm not good at it. And
did you ever take an acting class?
Not in high school stuff, but not like a real...
Nothing. Well, it's impressive. You're super funny, You've always been funny on screen. I've never sensed for a moment that you didn't know what you were doing.
Well, and that's the beauty of editing.
But I don't know. I really admire that when you're in a pretty competent group of actors there, right?
Oh,
and
yeah.
You're
Don't forget you have rehearsals too. You go because you got to.
I know. I've seen it happen, but still, even when I'm there with my script off to the side watching folks like you, I'm like, I don't know how these people are doing it. I don't know how they're getting through a page, let alone 3 or 4.
Well, it's not easy, but it's fun when you do it.
What do you do now? Are you one of these folks who will imagine your emotion in the scene? Right. This always gets weird with comedy. Like when I used to go out and read for comedy, I'd go to these acting classes or just do a one-on-one read with a guy, and he's like, "What is this scene about?" And I'd be, "It's about humor. It's about making someone laugh." He goes, "No. What is your character feeling right now?" He goes, "Approach all of your lines with your anger, with your happiness, with your confusion." And it made perfect sense in the moment, in the room, in that lesson.
Well, it's a good exercise. It's definitely a good exercise. I don't know how applicable it is all the time, but yeah, that's a good exercise for an actor to do. I'm not well versed in acting classes, but that seems to be.
So you won't leave the set and stay in character through lunch.
What, Tobias? Good Lord. No. Nope.
Anyway, we need to take a quick break.
Why?
We're taking one break.
Why?
One break, 2 breaks.
2 breaks.
And then we're going to answer some questions with David Cross.
All right.
You know what? There are a lot of weird things you find in cars. And I'm not talking about garden variety petrified French fries or melted crayons or crumbs. I'm talking about live snakes, bizarre artifacts, the kind of stuff that just makes you wonder about people. Another thing that will make you wonder, but in a good way, are Continental belts. Bet you didn't know they're OE in tens of millions of Chrysler, Dodge, and Ford GM vehicles that roll off the assembly line. They're also OE on the majority of BMWs and VWs. Now, Continental is launching the aftermarket multi-V belt with the OE pedigree. It's their OE Technology Series, belts that are fanatically engineered for perfect fit, form, and function. And Continental has an OE Technology Series multi-V belt for 98% of the vehicles on the road in the United States and Canada. Hey, you get enough surprises working on cars and trucks. A belt should not be one of those surprises. Go with the Continental OE Technology Series multi-V belt, the belt with the OE pedigree. To get the full story, visit oetechnologyseries.com. oetechnologyseries.com.
You're listening to Spike's Car Radio.
We're back with David Cross. He's got a new special out here.
Did I snap over your...
No, you didn't.
Okay, good.
But I like how relaxed this hour of podcasting is. His new special is Oh, Come On, and you can find it everywhere. Just suffice it to say, you can find it everywhere. iTunes, Amazon, Google Play, Charter Spectrum. You look for it, you are going to find it.
I think once you get to Xbox, you're like, wow, that really is everywhere.
Have you ever watched anything on Xbox? Do you even play video games?
Yeah, I do.
What games do you like?
I've been playing Destiny, which is easy to kind of drop in and out of, and I have friends who are there and will text like, "Hey, get on." There's a time difference because East Coast, West Coast, but
you play Fortnite?
Nope. I'm afraid of getting addicted to that. A little afraid of that stuff.
It is very addicting, but it's also got a high frustration factor that would preclude your addiction.
Well, that's good.
Because
I get that.
little kids kill you all the time, and then you just walk away from it.
You're bitter, angry. I'm looking forward to Borderlands 3, though. I was a big Borderlands fan.
God, I don't even know any of these games.
Oh, it's great.
Do you like asteroids? Do you like Atari games? Let me. I wanted to play. Can I play a sketch, Will, on here? If I just hold up the mic to this computer, I want to play one of my favorite sketches here from Mr. Show.
Okay.
That I sent around recently to my friends, including our co-host Zuckerman, who's not here today, and just said, "Have you ever seen this? This will make you laugh." Hold on, right here.
Well, this is high tech.
This is high tech. I am aiming the mic at my computer. I'm going to turn the volume up. This is Mr. Show.
You're literally holding it up to.
I am. And then I want to ask you about it. But this made me laugh so hard when it first came out, and it still makes me laugh. How long ago was Mr. Show?
95 through 98.
95 through 98.
No, 95.
It now costs $800,000 a year to jail just one criminal. That's enough money to send a family of 5 to college.
I don't know what this is.
Or to send that same lucky family on a 79-day rafting expedition. But at Pembleton State Prison, a new money-saving program allows criminals to be productive members of society while serving out their terms. This is the home of Larry Cleast, rapist. But you wouldn't know it if it wasn't for the friendly reminders Larry is required by law to provide.
A lot of visuals you're missing here.
The day he moved in, he took an ad out in the local newspaper. Now, this rapist lives just like any normal, non-raping person would.
Rapist coming!
He goes to work accompanied by an assigned state-licensed public warning engineer.
Rapist here! Rapist backing out!
Larry can even drive himself to work.
Rapist coming. Don't get raped. Rapist coming.
That's Jay Johnston as the...
Cold calls, my favorite part of the day.
That's Bob.
Hello, I'm Larry Cleast. I'm a rapist. Have you considered insurance? Hello, I'm Larry Cleast. I'm a rapist. Are you interested? Hello, I'm calling about insurance. Please don't hang up, please. My name is Larry. I'm a rapist. People don't seem to be interested in insurance these days. I think the industry's in a...
That is one of my favorite sketches of all time, with the hugely funny Bob Odenkirk.
There's
playing the rapist.
Shortly after, there's a bit where he's like, I think he improvised it, where he's like, "Hello, my name's Larry Cleast. Insurance is my game, and raping was another game of mine, but
raping was also another game of mine."
Something like that.
That is really funny. That sketch. How did that show come about? And did you I knew Odenkirk back on SNL. He had started, I think, the same season I started. He was a writer with Robert Smigel. I was the receptionist on the show. But, boy, it's incredible what he's gone on to do, isn't it?
Oh, God, yeah.
At that time...
He's immensely talented.
I remember both you guys and going, how did these two guys get this sketch show on HBO? How did that happen?
Well, I'll tell you, Spike.
Because at the time, it's HBO, right? And they're not necessarily known for their alt comedy.
No, not at all.
No.
Well, it was... I don't think that term existed yet. But, Bob and I were part of a clique, a group of people, comics, musicians, we're all friends and stuff. And
who was in that group?
Is
that Ben Stiller? Is that that crew? Andy Dick?
Yeah, well, they were...
Janine Garofalo?
Yeah, that was part of the Ben Stiller show, which was Ben and Andy and Janine and Bob. And then a bunch of writers. And that's how I met everybody. I came on as a writer, mid-season writer's replacement, and met Bob through that. But we weren't. He wasn't particularly friendly to me, and we didn't really click or gel. And then later, we were at a party again, just all mutual friends, and we started riffing a bit that became I don't know what it's called, but the pots and pans. Ernie, the English guy, like kiss the pan kisses you, whatever the when he plays the English pitchman. Because there was like a decade where, for your younger listeners, if you don't know this, there was a decade where there were all the infomercials, and for whatever reason, all the pitchmen were English. They're British with this, amped up British accent. Like who? What? And so we just started riffing this thing that eventually became that bit in Laura Milligan's kitchen, and then the next step was the same group of folks. There were these shows. There was a place on Hollywood Boulevard called the Diamond Club, and it was this room in the back of this like shitty disco place. It was literally in a back room with like kind of glass walls, and Dave Rath, who was a number of people's manager, got this night. So whatever it was, like Friday night, while there's we're behind the disco, through the disco, and we all started doing these shows. So Laura would have a night, and I'd have a night, and Bob would have a night, and various people. Greg Barrett would have his night, and everybody got their night. So and I came from a sketch group in Boston, and so I had these sketches and stuff that Bob and I did, and I was putting my night together, and I had various friends doing things, and then Bob and I got together to write the couple of things that we had riffed. And when we got together to write these bits, one was The Third Wheel, Legend of the Third Wheel. One was Racist in the Year 3000. This is all stuff that ended up on Mr. Show, and one was
right.
the 13th Apostle.
How does Racist in the Year 3000 go? I don't think I've seen that one.
It's just
top
bad.
Top line it for me.
It's really bad Star Trek-y type of special effects. But there's this racist, and he's just because I'm from the South, and I just it's easy to drop in on some of these. You one of the good ones. Don't get all uppity, and and he's just a racist in the year 3000. But he's also futurist. It's
right.
also shitty Star Trek Voyager looking stuff, and it was like the adventures of. Brock. What was the guy's name? I don't remember. And then Bob was my underling or something. I don't remember. I can't remember. But.
What struck me about the show, and I always remembered, was it looked like a show you guys were making for yourselves, which tend to be my favorite shows. Right?
First and foremost. I mean, we were on HBO in a tiny little corner of HBO that nobody ever visited, and we had very little budget, and they left us alone. I think in the 4 years we literally got one note from them, that we kind of fought and then said, all right, fine, and they encouraged us to do weird stuff, and not be on TV, not be something that you could see on TV,
And you guys were the coolest thing in Hollywood at the time. You were the cool comedy kids.
I mean, we got there, but not initially. It took a little while to get to that point.
I was always trying to get to your set and always trying to come to a show, and I was always busy working, and it always bummed me out. Did you shoot Friday nights? Is that when it was?
No, we would shoot, I think, Tuesdays and Thursdays, or Wednesdays and Fridays, because we had a crazy schedule where we'd be... I mean, you'd have to look at it on paper, but we'd be rehearsing, we'd be finishing writing one show, finishing editing a show, rehearsing for the taping that's coming up in 4 days, and then taping another show all at once, and still writing, writing for other stuff. So it was pretty hectic, crazy, and we broke up the seasons into 2 sections, so we do 5 and 5.
Do you ever think about getting the band together and doing some more of these?
Well, we did.
Is Odenkirk just too big at this point? Is he? Can you even approach him right now?
His writer is insane. I mean, we can't even afford his writer. It's.
He's one of the sweetest, most down-to-earth guys in the world, isn't it?
You would think so. That's why his writer is so crazy. Like it has to be a 120-year-old Chivas Regal. What is he? Is there even a 120-year-old Chivas Regal? Who drinks Chivas Regal? And he has to have these special socks, which are handmade by a little boy in a village in Ukursk, and it's crazy demands. Outside of that, yeah, we could do it in a heartbeat if he would give up some of those demands, but he won't.
I'd like to see it. I think this is your Netflix play.
Well, we did something on Netflix. We did 4 episodes of, it was called With Bob and David, and we used everyone we could who was available. It was a really tight. We crammed it in because of our schedules. When we wrapped, we wrapped the show. We had this little wrap party, and the next morning I was on a flight to London. I couldn't even go back home to New York to switch out my clothes. Like, I had to get on a flight and go to London and start working on something the next day. So,
do you stay close to the sketch comedy scene here in L.A.? Are you watching the up-and-comers? Are there any kids that get you excited?
I don't know. I live in New York, so I don't see... I'm not in L.A. unless I have to be, really.
Right.
But... so I'm not familiar with any sketch folks anywhere, even New York or I don't know. I definitely got to see a lot of really great comics that I normally wouldn't when I was getting this set together for Oh Come On and back when I had no material, I'd have different guests on the show to break up.
And what do you see happening in comedy right now? What are the young folks coming out and talking about?
Nothing. There's no sea change or difference. I don't sense a real PC difference or any of that. Just really good, clever, sharp, fearless comedy, which is always great to see. And just funny. There's just some really good, funny people out there.
All right. Well, I have a bunch of questions for you. We're going to take one more quick break.
All right.
I'm going to blow some phlegm out of my nose.
All right.
So the listeners don't have to hear it.
Okay.
And we'll be right back with David.
You sound okay to me.
Well, no, I got some phlegm.
Okay.
Do it. Hear that? Gary Delabonte. We'll be right back. 60 seconds. That's exactly how long this commercial lasts. You know what else you can do in about a minute? Get an offer with your car from TrueCar. That's right. In the amount of time it takes to floss your teeth, pet your dog, do a few sit-ups, just listen to my voice, you can get a true cash offer. Best of all, you can do it from your smartphone or at home. Just go to TrueCar and simply enter your license plate number and watch how your car's details pop up. Answer a few questions and you'll get an accurate true cash offer from local TrueCar certified dealer. It's that easy. After that, you can bring your car in and they'll check it out with you together, the two of you. You can even hug if you want. You can ask questions, get the answers you need so there's no surprises, and simply leave your check or trade in your car for a new ride. So when you're ready to experience a new, better way to sell or trade in your car, check out TrueCar today.
You're listening to Spike's Car Radio.
All right, we're back. Spike's Car Radio with David Cross here promoting his latest stand-up comedy special, Oh Come On, which I have watched. I'm not fake watching it. I actually watched the whole thing, and I laughed all the way through it, and I strongly recommend you guys listen to it. Jerry Horton. Oh, Jerry Horton. He's the husband, father, and guitarist for Papa Roach and a car nut. Okay. Here's his question. Does he have change for $1? And then Tangelo, what is
I will tell Jerry that I have quarters mostly.
What Andy Green Live wants to know, I mean, I think a lot of these folks know you're not really a tried and true car guy. And by the way, so what? That doesn't matter. This is a comedy and car podcast. But do you have a favorite car color? Andy Green wants to know.
Car color?
Car color. Yeah. Do you respond to car colors?
Like polka dot?
Polka dot.
Tactile, like 3D,
Our friend Johnny Lieberman, well, we spoke about what you drive. He wants to know what you drive.
Toyota Highlander.
That Toyota Highlander.
And you'll know it's mine because I have a I Heart the Popes bumper sticker on the back, so I can pick it out of the Walmart parking lot.
Of all the Tobias punchlines, which one gets brought up the most when you're talking to fans? Bazamu wants to know.
Oh, I mean, there's like a handful, but I gotta say it's probably, I just blew myself. Just blew myself. That's probably the one.
There are lots of questions about anal rape, so that doesn't come up much.
I know you get that. An alrapist and maybe actually there are dozens of us. Maybe that has a slight edge. I don't know. There's a handful of Tobias memes out there that people happily throw.
Dean, are you shooting another season of that show?
No.
That's it.
I think that's it. Yeah.
You've done. Now that Ozark is running, Bateman just doesn't need the cash, right? He's just like, forget it. Screw that. I'm not doing that. What about you going on Ozark? Would you go on Ozark? You've got
if
the
it
beard,
made
dude.
sense. Well, yeah, with this look, of
You've
course.
got the Appalachian
crawl
beard.
out of the mountain. Yeah, happily.
The old prospector character?
Yeah.
I'll text him right now. Dean Maroney, everybody. Will there be a full-length movie about Gary Flank and Taint Magazine? No, Dean, there won't. What does that even mean? I don't even know what he's talking about.
That's a Mr. Show reference,
Uh-huh.
which was kind of a parody of Boogie Nights, sort of, loosely inspired by Boogie Nights.
Here's a great question. The stair car in Arrested Development, that's the airplane stairs, right? Mm-hmm. What would you guess is the top speed of that car?
I've driven it. There was a scene where I had to drive it.
And what was it like?
It's not smooth.
Okay.
It doesn't go very fast at all. Yeah.
What do you remember? Were you shifting gears on the steering column? Did it?
I don't remember. I know how to do that, so I could have done it, and maybe that's why I don't remember. It was. I think it was like that kind of old pickup style,
right.
Manual shift. I don't remember. It was a long time ago, but I remember it was not an easy car to drive, an easy thing to drive.
Did you get stunt pay for that?
No.
Which Ed the Sled wants to know, which car is best suited for a pair of short jean shorts, fashion and performance-wise? So obviously referencing the Arrested Development jean
say that
shorts.
Again. Read that again. Which car?
He's asking you to pair your jean shorts.
Okay.
So let's say you're in your character, you've got your jean shorts on. What car would you select for that experience?
78 Trans Am.
All right. And why?
Just because of the decals.
Okay.
That I'm imagining are on it.
Mm-hmm. Boy, there's a lot of like really crazy car questions that you are not going to know.
I don't know shit about
997.1 911s.
Never forget.
Why do you hate Santa Monica so much and like New York? Is that true? Do you hate Santa Monica?
I do. I loathe it.
Really?
Yeah.
Tell me why. What do you hate about Santa Monica?
Well, if you had seen the set, it's addressed within the set.
Okay.
It's that's somebody who saw me on tour, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So do you not want to talk about that? We say
No, I'm fine. It's
but do you really hate Santa Monica?
Yes, and I lived there. That's why I'm not just like a day visitor who had to drop somebody off and hang out and get coffee. I mean, I was there, and I was there with nothing to do. Like my wife was working, and I was out here, and when just the day-to-day of it, and I'm not going to go into all the stuff because it's material within the set, but it's the kind of hippie ethos that I can't stand. It's the
But you're kind of a hippie yourself.
How dare you?
How
dare you?
When
I'm not a hippie.
Was thinking about this interview this morning, I was thinking David Cross is kind of a hippie.
No.
And I looked at the beard. And then I saw Asheville, North Carolina, and I was like, a hippie. No, nothing close to a hippie. I don't mean to insult you, but that's what I thought.
If you knew me, you'd know how insulting that was. Because I've talked about hippies in other sets.
What do you consider a hippie? Do the hippies even exist anymore?
Yeah, fuck yeah, man.
They're everywhere?
Well, go to Santa Monica.
Give me an example
Topanga Valley, or Topanga Canyon, rather.
So what kind of hippie do you hate? The people
I hate the
unintelligent hippie, the crystals hippie, the
fecklessness of like people who it's a generation of people who think they're doing something good and they're just useless. They're not. They're actually in the way.
Right.
And
Santa Monica, in your opinion, is full of these people.
That's fact, man. That's not an
It is?
opinion. Come on.
Why? I work every day in Santa Monica, and I don't see that now. I see a lot of Silicon Beach, Silicon Valley types there.
It's definitely changing, yeah. And that was
I had
kind
a
of
lot
starting.
of homeless people, by the way.
Yeah, that's really
It's a mess.
That's a big part of. I don't really address this in the set, but that's a big part of a really distressing thing is how much mental illness there is there, and it's really depressing, and it's just expanding, and the inequality is just right in your face, especially with all the tech stuff that's coming down there, and it's tough to take. Again, living there it's really distressing.
That's something I would not like Santa Monica about. When I see them, spending all of this money trying to close a perfectly lovely airport, spending millions of dollars trying to close Santa Monica Airport instead of diverting that to where it could help some folks.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Anyway, where were we? I'll get off my soapbox right now. And I'm going to ask you some more questions here. All right, here we go. How many green quarters have you saved up for your dream car? What does that mean?
That's a reference to...
How much of Dr. Funk was scripted, or was that just you doing magic ad-lib?
In the beginning, there was more ad-libbing, but the very beginning, but then pretty quickly, not too much of that made it because the scripts were so dense, and and Fox every year cut another 30 seconds out of the show and put in commercials, and so by the time we ended, it was like 20 minutes long, and those scripts were like 40 pages, so it was kind of futile to improvise at that point.
Do you feel at this point as a performer, and I know we are politically, are you kind of ethically opposed to working for Fox ever again?
Is there some kind of benign corporate monster out there that I'm not aware of? I'm not
But
sure.
it gets hard. I felt a little bit.
Well, now that Fox News and Fox are different now, they've separated.
Correct. Right.
You can feel a little bit better, but.
But you're right.
I wouldn't want to make Fox News any money, but
the corporate structure, it's bad everywhere. It's just bad everywhere. The Blue Man Group paint. Did that stain anything? Stain your seats? How long?
Everything. Stained interior and exterior.
Are there any Blue family members that would have been obsessive Porsche collectors? I don't think so. None of them really, for me, stand out as guys.
Maybe
or
Job.
women.
Job might.
Job is so funny. If Trump was a car, what kind of car would he be?
Probably an Edsel.
Just an old Edsel, just an old contraption, right?
Yeah.
Leaky.
Yeah,
never
spewing
right.
noxious gas into the atmosphere.
Here's a very simple question from Crash Stein. What's your favorite sandwich? Do you have a favorite sandwich?
I'll tell you my absolute favorite sandwich.
Wow,
not a type
totally
of sandwich.
Brightened up. Look at that. Totally brightened up.
There's a... I can't remember the name of it. The sandwich is called All That Jazz, and it's in New Orleans, and I want to say it's Vert Mart or Verde Mart, and it's a little grocery, tiny little thing that has a little sandwich thing in the back. If you walk past, there's a little counter, and it's one of the best sandwiches you'll ever have in your life. It's just great. If you're not in New Orleans, and if you're in New York, go to Meckelberg's on Grand. I think it's on Grand in Bed-Stuy, and they make some really amazing, creative sandwiches.
There you go.
The Blast. Bacon, lettuce, avocado, and soft-shell crab.
Spike Sandwich.
Tomato.
Spike Sandwich Radio.
Yep.
Spike's Sandwich Radio. Well, David, you got to catch up with this stand-up special. It's awesome. It's Spike endorsed. It's called Oh, Come On. Where do you prefer people watch this? Do you have any choice? Because it's everywhere.
No.
It's anywhere.
As long as you watch it on, just don't watch it on your phone on the subway. It's a little distracting.
No. This is Friday night at home.
Yeah.
With a
date night.
With some barbecue.
Or just jerk off night. Whatever your thing is. I don't know if you have a partner or not. Whatever, it doesn't matter.
Craft beer. Some jeans with holes in them.
But craft, Kraft.
I don't know. I don't drink beer. IPAs.
Craft macaroni and beer.
And enjoy this great hour of comedy. And get to know David Cross just a little bit better.
Deeper level.
You know him right now. Well, thanks for coming in, man. This has been a treat. It's been a pleasure to meet you. And
absolutely.
Next time you're in the hood, come on back.
I'll tell you. I'll get a different car.
Do you respond to folks on any social media in any way? Instagram, Twitter? Do you ever talk to them?
I am on Twitter and Instagram, but I try to temper that stuff. But I do, yeah. It's a way to get information out there. So
there you go. All right, and you can follow me on Instagram. I might respond to you there, but probably nowhere else. We'll see you next week on Spike's Car Radio.
Thanks for listening to Spike's Car Radio. Download new episodes every Wednesday on the Podcast One app or subscribe now at Apple Podcasts or PodcastOne.com.